Welcome to the E Show, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Founded in 2013, the EHL is your next step on the path to college. Over the past decade, the EHL has established itself as the college placement leader on the East Coast. And now, here's your host, the commissioner of the Eastern Hockey League, Neil Ravin.
Thanks, Jim. Well, with that, let's bring in this week's E-Crew, Jeff and Anthony. Another guest coming on this week, guys, that's going to make us feel even older than before.
Chance Gorman.
Yep. Welcome to the podcast, Chance Gorman, a senior now at Elmira. That's just so crazy to say. He's a senior now. How's it going, Chance?
Sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. It's going well. Glad to be here.
I said that Jefferson Mills, not Chance, but
yes, yes. College doesn't suck, but being a senior, it goes by, right? So actually, for those that can't see, I do have my Wizards jersey on, especially for this podcast, because I used to call a lot of Chance's games. It does say Harley on the back, though, not Gorman. But let's go back.
What did Chance tell you once you turned around and showed him that?
Yeah, he said take it off, right?
Take it off.
But they were line mates. They played together. So let's go back though to that time with the Wizards, because it was your age out year when you came to the EHL. You actually had played previously with a different junior league. What brought you to the EHL and the Wizards for that last season of juniors?
Yeah, I played for the Rockets beforehand in the USPHL Premier. And then I played with you remember Darby? He was on the line with me and Harley.
Brendan Darby.
Yeah. So Darby, he went to we knew each other before, and then we went to prep school together. And then I graduated and he still had another year, and then he ended up leaving to go play for the Wizards, and he said like he really liked it. And I don't know, he thought it was good competition. He liked Freddie Meyer. It was Freddie and Corey still at the time as the coaches. So he liked both of them, and he was like, dude, yeah, come out, like just like have like a skate with us for a couple days. And I went, and I loved it immediately. I think Corey or Freddie was like, yeah, we'll probably have you like playing with Darby anyway if you want to play here. So I was like, oh, dude, this is perfect. So I loved it. The Wizards was awesome.
When it was you and Darby and Harley on a line together, how dynamic did it feel for you?
Yeah, it was like perfect. Like I played with Darby before, but we had like I don't know, we just had like this weird, like really good chemistry. We had like all the different pieces that you need for like a very dominant line. Like Darby's like super patient, he's super smart. Harley's like not afraid to just get in the mix and battle. And then I just try to do a little bit of both and like fill in where we needed it. And we ended up just making so many plays. I think Harley actually played D for like a part of that year.
He did
or something. Yeah, for a little while. But
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he can do it all. That guy.
Right.
He's at Brockport now. But yeah, we had a blast, man, when we were playing together. It was awesome. It was super fun.
Do you still keep in touch?
Yeah, I still talk to Darby. He plays at St. Olaf now, so that's in Minnesota. But I'll still talk to him and still text him. And then Harley I see, because we play Brockport every year at least once. So I still see Harley and I talk to him. And Weimer too. Yep. Dylan Weimer's also
Dylan Weimer. Wow, that's another name.
Yeah. So whenever we play those guys,
yeah. Me and Neil can close our eyes, Chance, and we can see these little line charts. Corbinian Lutz, Devin Panzika, Chance Gorman, Andrew Harley, all the old Wizards from the years past. It makes us feel ancient. But Chance, actually, quickly talking about, you did enjoy your time with the East Coast Wizards, and it seemed like your point production went way up from your time with the Rockets. You finished with 66 points. You were a 30-goal scorer with the Wizards. So what was it exactly that really helped develop your scoring touch with the Wizards?
I'm not really sure. I think I just had like I went through like the whole prep school system and all that, and I had my fair share of like, I wasn't always like a scorer, you know what I mean? Like I had my fair share of games, like a season in the in prep school where like I barely played, like you have to go through that. So I think it was more like it was my last year junior. It kind of almost felt like my last year youth hockey in a way, before like I had to go away to school for good, and that was going to be like getting closer to the end of it, so I was like just trying to have like way more fun with it. And playing with Darby and Harley was super cool, and they made it really easy. Like a lot of it attributes to them. Like they were really good line mates, and Corey and Freddie were really good too. Just not only as coaches, but like just to talk to and stuff. They made it like super free. I kind of like freed myself up on the ice. I just felt really good. Yeah, they let me like be really creative, and they had a lot of faith in me. So I think that was definitely part of it.
You talk about playing under head coach Freddie Meyer. He's a guy who's played quite a bit in the National Hockey League. What was it like playing under someone with that kind of experience?
It was super cool. He was like extremely smart, and he was really funny too.
Yes.
Yeah. He was really smart. He was really cool. You could go to him with anything. He played D, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he was a super smart coach, and he knew exactly how to get each player to kind of work and to play the game that he believed like they would excel at. So it was pretty cool, like how he used like all the pieces on that team. It was really cool to see. I talked to him about it because I had a project for school, so I actually like asked Freddie a couple questions. And he talked about he was a psych major, so he talked about like it's all about managing personalities, I guess, as a coach. And when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, he actually did that like really, really well. Because there's like obviously junior, it's guys from all over, so he does a really good job in that sense. I mean, he manages everybody really well. So I think that's what makes a team so successful, and it makes him like super fun too to play on. Like he does a really good job with practices and games and all that. I think he was awesome.
You mentioned how funny it was. When I called your games, I was posted right there next to the bench, right? So there were times where he'd said a chirp that just got in the air, and I was like, Freddie, he couldn't have said that, right? But
he was so good. There was one time a ref was yelling at him for something. I don't know. He was like, he would like. We wouldn't really argue about it, but like he would argue with the refs. And for one time, the ref was saying something, I forget what he said, and it ended up with Freddie like pulling out a wad of 20s or something and showing the ref. I was like, dude, like on the bench, he has it in his pocket, like in the middle of the game.
Well, I was going to ask you
at Boston University education, hashtag sucks to be you. It's Beatpot week.
I was going to ask for a funny story, but Chance just took it right away there.
Yeah, right.
He was so good with those, Jeff. I remember also there was one time where he wanted me to listen to what he was saying in the locker room to the guys once, and I was like, "Why?"
For one of your calls?
And he was like it was like in between periods. And he was trying to explain to them that like they thought that they had it hard. But then he mentioned that he had dressed in warm-ups for like 25 straight NHL games, but didn't play in any of them. I'm not sure if that was your team or not, Chance, but he made it very clear that he had it harder than the players did.
I feel like
I actually remember you telling me that story. Like that is a good story to tell, though, as a coach.
That was Freddie. But hey, Corey was the assistant then. Now Corey is the head coach. Do you still keep in touch with Corey, or probably not any of the guys on the team now because you've been out for so long?
Yeah, I think I've spoken to Corey kind of recently. I actually went back and skated with them during my freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when still like a bunch of guys were still there. Corey, I think Freddie left after my year, but I went back and skated with them for a week. So I stayed with Jack Johansson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I stayed with him and I skated with them for a week, and that was super cool. So I still got to see those guys. So yeah, I still talk to you. If you remember Aiden Sofrino, he was on the team for the first half of the year. So I still talk to him. Like we're still pretty close. Me and Zach Papapetros, we actually worked together in the summer.
Papa points.
Yeah,
that's an awesome name, by the way.
Yeah. So we still work together in the summer. We actually play against him this weekend. He plays at Castleton, so we're gonna play against him this weekend. So yeah, I still keep in touch with a couple of the guys.
It's awesome
from that team.
Yeah. And Jeff Johansson used to chirp me while I was calling the games. Freddie would chirp the ref. Jack would chirp me.
Dude, I remember that year Jack chirped me too when I would fill in for you or something. It's like Jefferson. I remember he scored a goal. And he was like fantasy points. Like literally on the scissor left. I was like,
it's just because that's where we used to call the games from there, right?
Yeah.
Colin Casey, Colin's now up in the mezzanine, so he's probably in a better spot, right? But let's go back to that 2019-20 season again, which of course was the year that ended before we knew what could have happened, right? And I'm pretty sure
it's the year the world ended.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to face the Rangers next.
Yeah,
and I think it was Lumberjacks versus Avalanche were the other matchup, in your conference. So make your case why, if we had finished the season out, the Wizards would have won the whole thing.
Oh, okay. We were set up to face the Rangers, and actually Mitch Haight was on that team, and he's my roommate now. But he was my roommate my freshman year, and now this year he's my roommate again. He's just in the other room there.
Does he want to come on?
I think I can ask. Yeah, I'll ask him.
Double duty.
I think we it was a case where we were very middle, higher end, the whole season. We're just kind of doing well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then right as the playoffs came in, we started getting contribution from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that don't normally score or don't normally end up on the score sheet, ended up kind of helping out and contributing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a case where we caught fire right as that was building up. So we were super fired up. The Rangers were really, really good that year. So I mean, but we were definitely excited. It wasn't oh, we have to go play the Rangers. Yes, we get to play the Rangers now. We get to play the best team.
Yeah.
And I think we were doing we were just heating up, and it was so fun. And then you get all these texts and things on Instagram this league's canceled, and the EHL was the last league to stay alive.
We held on.
Yeah, we were the last.
He was
league.
Texting us. He was like, "I don't know, guys. I don't know." We're no.
Yeah, so we were hoping to God. I think there was an all-star group on Instagram that we started to communicate, and someone put in the chat Neil, this league was built for this. You can't shut us down. Please.
We already have the vaccine before it's done.
Yeah. This league is different. You can't shut us down. It's a 3-letter league.
3-letter league.
Yeah. And then
shirts are on the way, by the way.
Yes.
3-letter league.
Yeah.
We already got the showcases. Just have a bubble there.
Yeah, no, it was. We did everything we could that year.
Yeah.
But you kind of just teased this, Chance, and I teased you before with some potential news that I was going to break to you on this podcast. You got a chance in that season with the Wizards to play for the All-Star team that faced off against UMass Boston. This upcoming fall, you told us you're going back to Elmira. You'll be on the other side this time. Our team that took on Brockport and Fredonia last year is taking on Brockport and Elmira this upcoming fall.
Oh, that's so cool.
What will that?
I wanted to do that. I wanted to play against the EHL. That's so cool.
So what will that be like for you?
That's gonna be super cool. I want to see. Yeah, I want to see. I'm curious to see what it's like on the other side. I remember when I did it, it was super cool, and I remember it was definitely a different feeling compared to when I actually got here, playing against those teams. So we played against UMass Boston. My sophomore year, we switched into the NEHC they are.
Mm-hmm.
So when we played against them when I was on the EHL team, I thought they were the best team in the world. They were so good.
USA versus Russia, 1980.
That's what it felt like.
Really?
The first two games, they were close, and we were in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, we beat Salem State. I think
Salem State.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
I didn't play for that one, but we did beat them.
Yeah.
And
then
we
almost beat Fitchburg. You played in the Fitchburg game.
Yeah.
The 1-1 tie.
Yeah. So we had a really good. I think that was the first time EHL team has beat a college team.
Yep,
that's correct.
We played
Trivia
Salem State.
Boom.
Yeah. See, I got it up here.
Got it, baby.
Yeah. But then we played UMass Boston. I thought they were the best team ever. And then because we were down 6-0 in the first period, and I was like, what is going on? And then when we played them in college, it was just they were just another team. So I was like, I've actually grown a lot and got better. So I think it's going to be super cool to play against them. I'm actually so excited for that. I really wanted that to happen. I just wondered if it ever would. So now that it is, it's pretty cool. And Mitch is going to love that.
Yeah, we all heard the excitement in his voice, but you should have seen his face. His face, that was great. You were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually interesting too, Chance, because you talk about how you're able to beat Salem, you tie Fitchburg. So you would know more than anyone. Now, if you're going to be on the other side, you can't take that EHL team for granted. It may just be an exhibition game for you guys, but you certainly don't want to be on the losing side like some of the other colleges.
Yeah, that's gonna be serious. Like, I mean, people like, like I came from the EHL, so I always like defend it, you know.
Hmm.
But like the top end players like in that league, like they like everyone can play, man. So it
Yeah,
makes for a really good game. So I'm super excited about that. That's gonna be really cool.
Actually, yeah, so
literally
it's you, Mitch
confirmed it.
Haight, Nathan Young, Kenny Maxwell as the EHLers. Will you guys all be there next year? Kenny's young, so he'll be
Yeah,
there.
Kenny's a freshman. Younger will be here. He's in my class, so I think he's graduating.
Yeah.
I
This
don't
may
think
push
he's
him
coming
to
back.
stay next year.
Yeah. If I tell him,
Stay for
push
this
it by a
stay
year.
a whole year
Like,
for this one
well,
game, Jeff.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's it. Hey, I mean, why
So
not?
yeah, we have.
Um,
I think we've always had like some EHL guys before. We had like Larry Nealand. He played for
yep. The Express.
Walpole.
Express,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nick Grinvalds might have played in the EHL, but I could be
Oh
wrong.
yeah, for the
Yep.
Rangers.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
So yeah, we've
Yeah.
always had like a couple EHL guys. Oh, Russo, Marty Kapoyan.
Yeah.
He
The
played
list
for
goes on and
Revolution, I
on.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of
Michael
EHL
Grace,
guys.
your assistant coach, former EHLP Rangers coach.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But locked this in with Aaron Saul earlier this week. So that's October 26th this fall. So just to transition now back to Elmira, where you are now, what is it like to play there? What's it like to play for a nationally ranked Division III program?
It's pretty cool. Like you don't uh I don't know. It's like hard to believe sometimes. Like I'm like walking around, like walking in practice or just in practice, and you're like you're on the ice and you're like, oh my God, like when Saul says like we're whatever, like we were like two or at one point, or now we're
Yep.
I think five or four.
Yeah.
And like you look around and you're like, oh my God, we're like fourth in the country. Like we're the fourth best team in the entire country. Like
Mhm.
that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's hard to believe sometimes, but usually we try not to like worry about that stuff. We just try to keep playing. We're just trying to get better at our game every
Yeah.
day. So I mean, it's super cool though. Like coming in, like you realize like nobody, like you're not gonna sneak up on anybody. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're one of the best teams, so you got to prove it. And we've been doing a really good job of that. So
Yeah, and playing in the NEHC, obviously one team's going to get an automatic bid in the national tournament, and you would hope that it would be yourself based off how great the season's gone. But it's such a tough conference. How do you kind of keep the pedal down, knowing that even if you don't win your conference, you still can get in as an at large?
Uh, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like our conference usually has like three or four nationally ranked teams. I think my sophomore year, like fourth or fifth in our conference was like 13th in the country.
Yeah.
Which was like crazy. Like it puts it in perspective. Like it is a very hard conference and every game is really good. I think that helps us. I think like because some other conference like a little weaker when you're playing conference games, it's not going to be the same even if you're a really good team. Like we're always playing against really good teams every weekend. So we kind of build up that mentality like every team is going to be good you're going to face, and like as we go down the stretch like through playoffs, and then hopefully if we make it into the tournament, like you're always going to be playing against good teams. Those are the teams you're always going to be against.
For sure.
So I think it's
And
a
then,
really good conference to like prepare for that because everyone's
Chance,
so good.
what would you say to any future EHLers that are possibly looking at somewhere like Elmira? Like you said, always a top team in the country for Division III. Coach Saul, very winning coach that's been there for a very long time. What would you say to any young EHLers that are possibly looking at Elmira right now, as far as how you would sell the Elmira product?
uh I think in terms of that league, like don't worry about where you play. There's a lot of like slander because there's like null guys come in and they like they think like they played in the null, like they can do whatever. Like yeah, like who cares? Not a three-letter league.
Not a three-letter.
Yeah. So it doesn't
man.
really matter. It doesn't really matter where you end up and where you play junior. Just keep playing your game. Just keep plugging along because if you're good and you're producing and you're doing well, like they're gonna find you and you're gonna end up on a team like this. Like I mean, this took like a lot of time to get to where we are now. And it's just like a lot of belief in those players. So it doesn't really matter where you played. If you just keep playing the way you are, like
What
just keep
what
plugging.
about off the ice? Something that you've learned playing it or just going to school in Elmira? Biggest adjustment going from juniors and now living the college life. What would you say is the biggest adjustment there?
Um, the biggest adjustment, I mean, for in terms of junior, like we kind of have it lucky. Like you kind of do the same thing. You just have classes now, and like I went to prep school before, so it wasn't like too big of an adjustment for me. But it's just staying on top of stuff, staying on top of school, like and the balance isn't really that difficult. People say like if you play a sport in college, like you have no time in college, and if you play a sport, like good luck, you have like no time for anything else. It's not really true. Like I think you have way more time than you think, to kind of like hang out with friends, just do whatever you want, play video games, go out, do whatever. So I think that's the biggest thing is like when I got here, it was kind of a myth. Like everyone kind of warns you like you have no time, but you think you really do. Like you have a lot of time to just like hang out with teammates, like sit, watch TV with them, do whatever, go to practice and stuff like that. I think you just have way more time than people say.
Can I also just say, I feel like what you just said, that holds a lot more credibility coming from a team that's nationally ranked.
Yes.
So, it's not just like some bottom feeder program that just doesn't practice as much. This is a ranked school, and Chance saying that, you still have time to live the campus life. That's actually pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, good point. Carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, that's the difference. I like I would get so worried when I was in like high school and junior stuff. Like people are like, you have no time when you go. Like you're throwing your life away. Like that's all you'll ever do. And it's really not. Like you have a lot more time than you think. So you don't need to worry about it too much. Just keep playing your game.
Actually, quickly on that, Chance too. Did I see you play on the golf and the esports teams for Elmira?
Yeah, I do. I have my esports drip right here. I don't know if you can see that.
Chill.
But yeah, so there's that.
What game do you play for esports?
The golf hat right here. So I'm on the COD team. So I play Call of Duty. It's me and my brother, and then two other guys that graduated that are doing like their fifth year. One guy's now like a baseball coach, and the other one is just like taking his classes for his master's.
Gotcha.
Nice.
So, and you played golf too.
Yeah, so yeah, golf is super fun. That's like
so you're with Coach Grace over there then too.
Yeah. He's a golf coach too. Yeah, the golf team is such a cool dynamic. It's only like 4 or 5 of us for some events. Like 3 of us are hockey players. Actually I think there's like 4 or 5 hockey players on the team now.
Yeah.
But it's super cool. Like it's a really fun dynamic. It's really nice to have like another outlet for like competitiveness kind of, but it's like kind of relaxed because it's golf, like you meet up with 2 guys from 2 different schools and you're just like hanging out with them, talking with them through the whole round. Like I think it's super cool.
Hey, wait a minute, Neil, don't we have another East Coast Wizards alum who is also a hockey and golf D3 athlete?
Oh, Matthew Gover.
And Matt Gover.
Yes.
MCLA.
Matt Gover. So he just played this past season in the EHL, so you never crossed paths, but he's the goalie at MCLA. He is a fantastic golfer too. So wait,
way better than me.
Yes, but we'll have to end it with this then. So does that make you a 3-sport athlete, Chance?
I guess so. Technically speaking. And I was gonna try because I'm staying. We had a lacrosse team my freshman year.
Okay.
But then they folded. But now they're coming back. They're getting like a turf field. They're like building it or whatever. Because they announce it like 10 times during all of our home games that they're building a turf field. So I'm gonna try out for that because I played in high school.
Yeah.
So I've never been able. I never got a chance to in college really.
Yeah.
So I would like to try and see how that works. And I guess if I'm staying, I might as well try it because it's in the spring. Like obviously hockey will come first in that scenario, but I would like to try it. But yeah, for right now, 3-sport athlete. I'm pretty sure also Stafura and Papa play at Castleton. They play golf too.
Oh, nice.
So just so everyone knows, you have plenty of time in college.
Yeah.
Like you
can like juggle all that stuff and still have like plenty of time, like for stuff like this, just like hanging out. Like right now, I don't have anything until like 4 o'clock. That's when practice is. I got my only class in the morning. So
practice leading up to another national ranked game this weekend against Skidmore. And then you have that reunion with Stafira and Papa against Castleton. We'll be following along and all the way through your playoffs. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you in October too. All right.
Yeah, cool. Right on.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Chance.
Yeah, see you guys.
Thanks again to Chance Gorman for coming on the podcast this week. 3-sport athlete, could be 4-sport athlete. Guess guys, he just does it all, man.
Also, hey, go join the East Coast Wizards. Their new selling pitch should be come play hockey with us. And you're probably also an amazing golfer.
Yes. And if you want to, you can play esports. So
right. Gover, Gorman, hockey and golf. The life. Like your life, Neil. Hockey and golf.
Yeah, I don't dabble really in the video games. I'm not really good at those.
No, I've played a long time.
Oh man. But that was awesome. Seeing the look on his face when I told him that we're going there next year. That was pretty special too.
Yeah, he lit up. So, if you could, I wish everyone could see. It was like mouth open, like what?
Yes. Exactly. So
he's gonna be diving all over the place, blocking shots. He said he wants that win.
He wants.
He knows what it feels like.
That's for sure. And the players are feeling that right now in our league currently. So let's start talking about where things are at this week and around the East Show.
Let's take a look at what's going on around the East Show.
Around the East Show is presented by BioSteel, the sports drink of the EHL. Use the promo code EHLB1. That's EHLB1 for 25% off when you check out at biosteel.com.
So this is one of the first times this season where we've recorded on a Thursday and a game is taking place as we record.
While we're talking?
So that's just how busy things are right now.
Railers Rough Riders?
Railers Rough Riders up 2-0. Whenever I see the Railers beating someone that they previously lost to, all I can think about is, and they took that personally. And they took that personally. Yeah. That's all I can think about.
Nope.
So obviously they recently lost to the Rough Riders, and then they won 7-0 yesterday, and they're up 2-0 today. So they took the loss personally, is what I'm saying. Anyways, we'll stick with that Central Division. Applecore Railers are now tied in game count. Who finishes as the 1 seed here, guys? I mean, this is a great race.
Oh, man.
Great pressure question right off the get by Commissioner Ravin. I don't know. I mean, what a game between the Avalanche and Railers the other day. I mean, there's a little playoff preview. There's a big boy hockey game, as we always like to say.
Yep.
And the Railers were down. The Railers were down 3-0, made it 3-2. Then they were down 5-2, and then got one to make it 5-3 in the second. Got one late from Edward Soulier late in the third to make it 5-4. Look a little close, but yeah, I mean, the Applecore is still on that heater, Neil and Anthony, 16 games now.
Yep.
I mean, you got to say, is it the Applecore, or are they getting too hot at like too late of a time? That's the other thing, right? Is we always play that game of, do you want to go into the postseason? Do you think that they continue this and become the all-time most the best winning streak in the EHL? There's 6 games left in their season?
Let's do that.
9 games left.
Let's do that for a second, just to see, Jeff, right? So they've won 16 straight.
Yeah.
Right. So if they were to win out the regular season, that would be 9 more games for
25
straight.
5 fewer than the Little Flyers.
Yes. But that's just it. It's not just regular season games, right? So they'd have to then sweep the first round, sweep the second round, and sweep the Frozen Finals semifinal series to set the new record. If you win out, you're in the championship game. All right. At that point.
That's it. All right.
But again,
there you go, Lenny. There's your speech.
To your point, though, Jeff, like, would it be beneficial to drop a game as opposed to entering with this huge target on your back, right? Like, the bigger the number gets, the bigger the target gets, right?
I think it would help if they did drop a game. And just real quick, credit to our executive producer Justin Quateri, who dropped this in our conversation the other day. So the Applecore moved into a tie for third place with the Avs for win streaks at 16. Yeah. One more, they'll tie for second. One more point, and they move into a 3-way tie for third in point streaks at 17. So yeah, just a little EHL history fact there. Thank you.
Well, if they sweep HC Rhode Island in their upcoming back-to-back, then they will become, or they'll have the second longest winning streak in EHL history.
Yep.
And it's not like HC Rhode Island's not trying to play for something, though, Anthony. They're currently tied in points as we record this with the Chiefs at 30 apiece. So right now, if the playoffs end today, that's your play-in game. Yep. And a play-in game in your own building, it's, Captain Obvious is better than a play-in game on the road. So
is it? You like sleeping in your own bed, you can eat your own food.
Exactly. Yeah. So how this all unfolds is going to be very interesting in the Central. I think it's very clear that the 1-2 race is a 1-2 race right now. They have separated from the other four. And the 4-game winning streak for Providence has helped them kind of create a little gap for them there. Did I take that away from you, Anthony?
Well, no, I was just going to make sure that we were going to give Providence its credit because one of those wins this past week was also against the East Coast Wizards, a very good team. So they got a 4-2 victory. So yeah, Providence Hockey Club's been playing pretty well too. So can't forget about them either.
No, but they've kind of created a space for themselves, I would say, in 3. It's not a huge space, right? We can see things change from week to week, but they kind of have a little bit of breathing room, if you will,
They've created a new EHLP team.
Yes, and we added that P team for next season. The best part about that, Jeff,
what is it?
Is that I get to have 4 divisions in the EHLP.
Oh.
So now there's 4 division winners, right? Symmetry. There's no more at large, right? This is like a breaking news podcast, actually, right now. So it's just now the divisions can have the same name: North, East, Central, South. 4 winners, no at large. So, but just to kind of give everyone a sense of where we're at too for those top 2 teams, remaining schedule for the Apple Corps. Anthony mentioned Rhode Island this weekend in Rhode Island. Then they have the 87s. Rough Riders, Wizards, Warriors, Rangers, Wolves, Huntsmen. Not easy by any stretch.
No.
Railers just scored again all around this podcast. They're up against the Rough Riders right now. They have Chiefs, Providence, Rangers, Terriers. That's a tough showcase schedule. Rhode Island, Vermont, Wizards, Avalanche. So both of them have their own challenges the rest of the way. But it'll be interesting to see which one claims that 1 seed and gets ultimately to face the winner of the play-in game, and which one ends up in the 2-3 matchup. So we'll just go down the website, the way that the standings are laid out. Get to the Avalanche next, and I guess while we're on it, we'll just keep doing math. The Spartans have 9 games remaining to get to their 46 total, which is a max of 18 points, gets them to 60. Avalanche hold the tiebreaker, so the Avalanche really are 2 wins away from clinching the number 1 seed in their division, and they play today against the Warriors at noon, a team that, just like HC Rhode Island in the Central, they're still fighting for something themselves. They're 1 point behind Vermont for that last playoff spot, but the key thing, they still have 2 games in hand, right? So that's where it's like, you feel good that you're Vermont because you're ahead, but you also feel probably useless, right? In that you don't really control your destiny because you're going to have to sit and watch Valley get caught up to you in game count, correct?
Yeah, I would say that's correct. And again, thank you for putting that league vote through with the showcase in the last year, because I'm just looking at all these teams and all these different games. Going back to the Apple Corps real quick. Don't say that 10 times fast. They're playing the PA Huntsmen in their last game. I know we haven't gotten to the South yet, but Huntsmen now on that precipice of being in that out spot in the South. So yeah, teams like the Warriors and Huntsmen, Seahawks and Bandits, all those teams are going to be fighting the Rough Riders. They're going to be fighting for their literal lives for the first time ever. We're not going to have all teams making the dance this year.
For sure. To the East Division, I'm wearing this Wizards jersey because Chance was on also. I didn't get a chance to ask him.
I think
I have showed you guys the hole that's in this jersey. I've showed you this before, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's why Corey gave it to me, because they clearly couldn't reuse this. But we didn't get to even ask him if he knew the story behind how Harley got this hole in his jersey. But they're currently
a double barrel shotgun. Like, I don't know, that's a hell of a hole.
Dude. But
hell of a slap shot.
The Wizards are currently in first place, with 54 points. But again, they've played 3 more games than the Express. And that's the biggest key. Express played today to cut that game count down to, a 2-game difference. And if they beat Seacoast, they can tie the Wizards for points. I'm sure what they would love, both of those teams, is to stay where they're at, because it would mean that they would avoid facing each other in the first round for the first time in 3 years. The past 2 years, first round matchup has been Wizards versus Express, and obviously 1-2. You could avoid that. And they've created a little space, I want to say here also, with the Rangers, who I know still have 2 games in hand on East Coast. But what stands out to you guys about this division and what's changed in the last 7 days?
I mean, with the Express, that's something we've been talking about all year long, is they've always been one of the teams at the halfway mark. They were at the fewest games played, or right there around it. And just kind of looking at them, since we were just talking about them first, Neil and Anthony, is they only have 3 home games left out of the rest of their schedule. Wow. At the new Cadillac Ice Arena, Norwood Cadillac, my old hometown, represent. So don't call it Robin anymore. It's Cadillac Ice Arena.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, just looking at that, and they can play spoiler against, they can help a lot of these teams, or they can put a lot of these teams to bed. They got to play the Warriors, Philadelphia Hockey Club, Seahawks. So teams that are, again, trying to stay out of that bottom spot. And as far as other storylines with this East Division, Neil, to answer your question, I mean, I think the Rangers showed us last year they don't really care about winning the East Division title. I'm sure Rich DiCaprio would say, you can have the East Division title. I'll go take the big thing at the end. So if there's any team that's probably not worried about where they are, I'd say it's probably the Rangers. I think they're still confident as a team as a whole.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But creeping up behind them slowly, the Terriers are only 5 points behind. They too have played 2 more games.
2 more, though.
They played 2 more, right? But when game count gets even, and if it's still only a 5-point gap, that's not a huge margin. So something to just keep an eye on.
Then we'll wins and an OT loss.
Yes. Then we'll wrap it up with the South Division. I'm not sure if it was last week's short shifts, Anthony, or the one before when you called it the amazing South Division race, but you had I forget the way that you worded it, but I was like, that's funny. I like
no,
that.
that's exactly how I worded it. I know Justin Squitieri really liked that one too. The gap has widened just a little bit. It's now a 16-point difference. The Bears have been playing better again. They're 2-0-2 in their last 4. Mm-hmm. So they have a 4-game point streak going. The 87s are 3-0-1 in their last 4 games. So they've kind of gotten some separation from Team Maryland. And the 87s still have 2 games in hand from Team Maryland, Little Flyers, and Philadelphia Hockey Club, actually.
Yeah.
But
so weird question then, Anthony. In this division where it's been such a dogfight all year long, does claiming a point in overtime or a shootout, like when you lose one of those games, does it feel like a half win?
I guess you could say that, because the last Friday, the 87s and Little Flyers had a great game that was scoreless heading into overtime.
Yep.
Little Flyers won that game, and it's one that got away from the 87s, but it was a well-played match, and they still got a point in the standings to stay ahead of Team Maryland. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could say anytime you get a point in the standings, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and maybe to that point, Anthony, you get a point and you didn't score a goal, right? So, right, that's kind of a weird statement to really make, but you didn't score a goal in the game and you still got a point in the standings. So
yeah, it's funny. The 87s, that was the 5th time they've been shut out, and I was talking about it with Chris Russo that if I feel for anybody, it's Kyle Spann, because he's been the goaltender in several of those matchups. There was one back in October where he got credit for the shutout, but the game went into a shootout. He only let in 1 goal. The only puck that went into a net was a PHC shootout goal, and that was it.
So he has a 1-0 shootout loss and a 1-0 overtime loss this season.
Ow.
Ow. We're not goalies, but I would imagine when you're in those games and the puck goes down the other end, you're just praying for it to go in the other net at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
I can hear our fellow goalies, Mikey Basile and Tyler Rago, wincing though when they listen to that part. They're gonna go, oh, ouch.
Too funny. It's too funny. To the EHLP we go, and we'll start again at the top of the way it's listed on the league website. Actually, I have some updates to make here, guys. I don't know why I didn't
do
this
surprises? More breaking news?
No, the Avalanche have 7 games left to get to their 42, right? So if you add those 14 points in, they can't catch Adirondack.
No, 34 points, 52. Yeah, nope.
That's 48,
that's
right?
Your division winner.
Yeah, Wolves have 12 games left, so that's a max of 20. No, is that math wrong? They have 10 games left. Wow. Woo. Oh boy. Yeah, so they're not quite division winner yet.
20.
Right?
Yeah.
Because 20 plus 33, Jeff, get your calculator out, is 53. So no update yet, but we're a point away from Adirondack clinching the #1 seed in their division. And it looks like they'll get Vermont the way that the standings are listed out right now. Vermont trails the Wolves by 7 points, Avs by 8 points. So, but again, they only play 42 in the EHLP, so not as big of a window to get caught up. And the Wolves only played 32 games, right? They've played the fewest amount in that division. So, speaking of 32 games played, though, Huntsmen have played only 32 games, and they probably, if the Apple Core winning streak doesn't, exist currently in the EHL, they probably get more talk about how they've won 13 straight games.
All sorts of teams streaking in the Premier. Thunder 7 in a row, Huntsmen 13 in a row, 87's 5 in a row, Railers 7 in a row, Warriors 8 of their last 9. It's like everyone in the Premier it's good to be young. They're like, hey, we're good.
Maybe they're not concerned about what you could be concerned about, Jeff. Is we want to get hot now, and we'll just stay hot through the rest of the season.
Yeah, maybe at the Premier level. They're younger. They're built a little differently, right? Programmed a little differently. So
for sure. It does feel like, though, after the Huntsmen and the 87s who are trying to chase them down, we just had this 2-way matchup, Renegades versus Little Flyers. One will be the 3 seed, one will be the 4 seed, and then one other 2-way matchup, Union versus Chiefs. One will be the 5, one will be the 6. And remember, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. Not a 1 game. Those are best of 3. So you get a few chances there to keep your season alive. So to the last division, the Boston division we go, was looking things up the other day for the Railers. And while they're trying to chase down history, what hurts them is that the most wins in league history for a single EHLP season came in a year where the EHLP did play 44. And we're playing 42 now. So that does hurt them. But if they can remain perfect here down the stretch, they will still set the record. It's not going to be easy by any means. But they're up to 31-3 now. Just kind of ho-hum. Roll out there, win a game, roll out there, win a game, and just move on to the next week. But after them is kind of where I wanted to start the at-large discussion with you guys, because this is where it gets really interesting. Because for a long time, we talked about how it was really just Rangers and Railers. And they were the 1-2. And it was that way last year and the year before, right? So now, if the season ended today, obviously the Railers are the regular season champion. If they win the Boston division, then they're going regardless. But after that, the second best record is Adirondack. Then Huntsmen, then Warriors, then Rangers.
Yep.
Yes, I know game count. Rangers have played the fewest games total in the league at 30.
Yeah, they still have 14 left. Wow.
12. We play 42 now. Yes. Yeah, I got 42. You all confused there.
Yeah.
But
numbers.
Like, this is too broad and bold of a question, but who wins the at-large? It's so
blank.
It's so hard to predict, because what if there's an upset along the way too, right?
And we all know that usually it doesn't go. I mean, look at the NFL playoffs. Well, nah, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea, because it's 1 seeds. I was going to say, before the Ravens and Lions decided to just poop all over themselves, you could have looked at the NFL playoffs because there was a little bit of upsets in the early rounds, and I feel like that usually happens in the EHL and the EHLP. But I mean, I don't know. Is this Warriors team gonna finally crack into the Frozen Finals first time, long time? Is it that we all have been talking about how it feels like this year, like just feels like something new is gonna be upon us at Schneider Arena, and is that part of the maybe it's the Huntsmen and the Warriors as far as the new splashes into the Premier? As far as the EHL, don't know yet, but we're sticking with the Premier right now. But yeah, maybe the Warriors, maybe the Rangers. It's just I don't know. I'm not sure. What say you, Anthony? Do you have any good guesses?
My guess is, or your guess is as good as mine, Jeff.
87s.
So I'd like to think, and can't in the words of current EHLP head coach Connell McNeilis, never discount the South.
Oh God,
never.
One of the best post-game press conferences of finals history there, Anthony. But that'll do it for last year. He was so pumped. So pumped. But that'll do it for Around the E Show. We have some updates to make now for all of you in the E Show Fantasy Challenge.
Now it's time for the E Show Fantasy Challenge. Follow along on the EHL app, available now for free on both Apple iOS and Android.
As we start each week, Jeff, I want to talk about Yahoo, but I don't. My team is so.
Hey, you can join me.
I'm losing. Yeah, I'm losing again, and whatever. I don't really have any time, right? I'm kind of just thinking about if I lose this week and next week, I'd probably just make a move over to daily at that point. I don't know, but anyways,
you're just out of the playoff race now. You're in seventh.
No, there's 8 teams making.
It's top 6. Oh,
it's top 8. Yeah, we had that.
Top 6.
I was on my soapbox earlier this year about that, but I'm still in, but there's a chance I fall.
Got a lot of teams hovering around you though.
Oh, it's annoying. It's so annoying.
7-9. Ooh, Justin right there. Look at Justin. Justin's team name. 3 swear emojis now for Justin Squitieri in his picture. We won't go into that. Looks like he likes Dairy Queen soft serve. I don't know.
Yes. So,
and my team still sucks and blows. So, 3-13. Me and Jim McCabe are in a race for Mr. Irrelevant. He's 2-14 in last place. So
yeah, like I said, Jeff, you can switch to daily now, and DraftKings has some great offers. I mean, I hear a different prop bet something. It feels like every day leading up to the big game on Sunday. So
the big game. Looking for a super offer as far as what Neil's talking about for Super Bowl 58. Then DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. And you can do that by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and you can use THPN as your code. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58 with code THPN. The crown is yours. Do you have a gambling problem? If so, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER. You can visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, you can call 877-8-HOPENY, or you can text HOPENY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. You can call 888-78-97-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. You can void that if you're in Ontario. Bonus bets do expire 168 hours after issuance, so see dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
So as everyone knows, we have 4 of the 5 tickets punched for the Round of Champions so far. Looking for a 5th ticket this month. This is going to be a good month, guys, because it goes from February 1st through that final day of the regular season. So it probably could be the highest point totals we see of all season long. Right now we have 2, I would call them, I think, Railers fans in the lead. Ryan Mineker, I don't know who he is, but he has all Railers players picked there.
I think we know Dan and Mackenzie Mealy are.
Yeah, it's related to Corbin, of course, of course.
They both pick Corbin as their D.
Yes. But
I think me and Anthony have to pick a new forward though. Aiden O'Connell, dinged up, injured.
He's playing. Look at the game log. He's been playing.
All
so
right.
he's just
after
only
that hit the other day, I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's just only turned in 1 assist for you. So
all right.
But some point totals that stand out so far. Adam Casper, despite that loss that the Railers had to the Avalanche last Sunday, sandwiched around that loss, he has 2 shutouts. So that's why you see
21.8.
That's why you see him at 21.8. Peter Unger has 20 points so far.
I had him last month. Can I have him again?
Yeah, right. for the Apple Corps. Evan Plunkett played in both games last weekend for Seacoast versus the Lumberjacks. He got 12.8 points, so he'll probably get rolled back out there again today against the Express. A name that does stick out for me a lot, I know we've hyped him a bunch on this podcast, Jake Hugeson. His numbers really have been equally as good, if not better, than Ryan Crouchaw since his trade. Yeah, Crouchaw went from Chiefs to Apple Corps. Hugeson went from Terriers to Maryland. Chase Hannon, mentioned him. He's now up to the 2nd highest point total for defensemen in the league, guys. We've hyped Jack Costable so much. Hannon's just slowly crept up there. He may not catch him, but he's got the 2nd highest point total for D in the league. So
and nobody picked him this month, and I picked him last month.
No,
Can I just go back to?
He's picked.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, right there, 7th overall by Vadim Frolov, who picked himself. Hannon and his goal.
There we go, Chase Hannon. Thank you. My eyes failed me. Just one, but that's it. So there's a good. That's good for Frolov as far as no other people have Chase Hannon.
For sure. So, but we're really still early on in February, only 7 days in. So plenty of points still to be had and so many games left. So let's start talking about some of the upcoming games in what to watch for.
And now here's what to watch for in the EHL and the EHLP.
What to watch for is presented by Flow Hockey, the official streaming platform for your EHL and EHLP action throughout the 2023-2024 season.
So I want to keep doing this the way that we have, guys, and just keep going day by day because it feels like every day key things happen, right? As we record this podcast, the Railers just keep scoring. They're probably listening to the podcast as we record it, Anthony. And they're like, yeah, you want us to take it personally? We're just going to keep scoring goals.
At this point, every game is really what to watch for, too, right? Because of these playoff races. So
yeah,
I mean the fact that the Railers are still in first place after Apple Corps or during Apple Corps' 16-game winning streak, that says a lot about the Railers' consistency and how over the last couple of years they've consistently been one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, for sure. What were you going to say about the funny thing about the Railers? Neil?
No, there's just guys are getting fantasy points while we talk right now. Wyman has a goal. Corbin Mealy has a goal.
Because you're in Vegas. Cha-ching.
Yes. Mentioned earlier, Seacoast plays the Express today at noon. Valley plays the Avs at noon. We'll mention the Avs winning streak too, Jeff. They've won 11 straight, but it's being overshadowed by the Apple Corps streak.
Shut up, Christopher.
But just to kind of keep going, 5 more games tomorrow. This is that busy stretch in the season where it feels like every day we have this chunk of action.
Even though it's a short month.
Yeah,
lots of games slammed.
Lots of games. 87s play the Little Flyers tomorrow. Venue switched. I'm sure the goaltenders want more than 1 goal scored, at least against the other team, right? Providence takes its 4-game winning streak to the Cape to take on the Seahawks. We mentioned the 2-game series, Apple Corps and Rhode Island. I love those times, guys. Not sure about you. I'd love to play Friday at 5, Saturday at 2. Like, get to bed early.
Get done early.
Like, just, I don't know. It just
to bed early.
It feels good for me.
Old guy,
but hey, if Providence beats the Seahawks tomorrow and the Avalanche beat the Warriors today, that could be a Saturday matchup. Providence will have won 5 straight. Avalanche will have won 12 straight. So 4:30 up here in New Hampshire on Saturday. We also have Bears Huntsman Saturday. Maryland Philly Hockey Club, Lumberjacks, and Wolves have a 2-game series. That's the only EHL game on Sunday. Of course, Super Bowl Sunday. So then skip to next week. Wow, what a way to start off the week. We have
Also, can I just make a quick note about PHC and the Pennsylvania Huntsmen?
Yeah.
I've noticed that they're both trying to stay out of the basement, trying to stay out of sixth place and fight for their playoff lives. I called the 87's PHC game yesterday. Even though Philadelphia did not get the win, they're playing with a lot of urgency right now.
Oh, yeah.
So Huntsmen are going to go up against the New Jersey Bears, who are first in the South, and the Bears have been playing better now.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going to be a really good matchup because I think Pennsylvania is going to play with that same urgency, and they're going to come out hard.
No doubt. No doubt. We kick off next week with Rangers versus Express on Monday. Ooh. Feels like they always play the day after the Super Bowl for some reason. I don't know. I just remember that for some reason. You also have Rough Riders versus Rhode Island. That's probably the team that the Rough Riders are hoping they could potentially catch, but that gap is closing as we get closer towards the end of the season. And then 87's Apple Corps to wrap up the podcast week next Wednesday. Huge. So plenty of big games coming up in the EHL. So we'll go over to the EHLP. And tomorrow we have a Rangers Avalanche game. It's always fun when they get together, whether it's EHL or EHLP.
Rangers also Chiefs today. That's the only premier game today.
Only one today. This weekend, Adirondack 87's two big games. Adirondack, of course, as we mentioned, with 1 point, can clinch the 1 seed in their division. So something to keep an eye on as they head down. Anthony, you get to call both those games. Those should be fun to call.
I'm really excited about that. And Chris and I might switch again, too, so I might do a game ringside.
Perfect.
Nice. There you go. Well, Little Flyers Renegades is big, too, for 3 and 4 in the Mid-Atlantic.
For sure.
Only 4 points separate the two sides.
For sure. Got a call yesterday from the Express and Rangers. I don't think that they forgot on Sunday that it's Super Bowl Sunday, but they do play at 5:30. For those that are wondering, that is a showcase-style game. So you can get in and out of there in about an hour and a half, hour 45, and get home.
Wait, they're really doing 2 showcase halves?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So
all right.
Timing just worked out that way, Jeff. So
got it.
If you're trying to go to that game,
won't ask any more questions.
You're not going to miss too much time of the Super Bowl. You go to the game, get home, you'll probably be back in the first quarter, right?
There you go.
So
still have a chicken wing and nacho and catch kickoff.
How about this week though for the Rangers premier team, right? So tomorrow they face the Avs. Saturday they face the Express. Sunday they face the Express, right? Tuesday they face the Railers. So you're getting caught up. That's not me. You're getting caught up in game count, right? But man, that's a gauntlet week right there. And then we
don't forget a matchup against the Wolves too. Wolves are still playing pretty well this year.
Yeah. So and then Adirondack versus the Lumberjacks wraps up the podcast week. So a busy stretch in both divisions, right? So I guess we'll just see where things stand a week from now, guys.
I guess so.
So thanks again to Chance Gorman, the 3-sport athlete, for coming on the podcast this week. That was fun
that was
to
great.
have him on. Crazy that he's roommates now with Mitch Haight. Like, it's just like you played against each other. You would have faced off in the playoffs against each other, but now you're roommates and the best of friends, right?
You can be enemies in the EHL and then become friends in college.
It's crazy.
There you go.
It's awesome though. It's awesome though. So
it is.
Thanks again to Chance, and we'll reset, do it all again in the week, guys, and see where things stand. Remember, next Thursday when we record this podcast, that is the free agent and new player edition trade deadline day, right? So that's the last day to bring in a player from outside the league. After that, the teams still have until the end of the season for EHL and EHLP moves, but
are we going TSN style to break any trades?
We could.
Love that,
they'll have until midnight on the 15th. So 1 week from today, they'll have 12 hours or so after we get off the podcast to work things out if they want to. But the key thing is, the better way to look at it is for every team that has just EHL or just EHLP, that's their roster freeze.
Yeah.
After that, the teams that have both, they can still move up and down. They can't bring new players in, but you can move up and down. But next week,
huge.
Which is huge, right? And they could figure out,
injuries, rest.
You can figure out a situation like the Huntsman, right? You're fighting for that last spot at the EHL level, but at the EHLP, you're in first place. Right. So is there a swing player that could make a difference? It's on the flip side for the Railers, right? They had that line they brought up. Tomchek, Warner, Sini, and Brooks Wright.
Yep.
Do you want them to be on the first place EHL team or the first place EHLP team?
Do you want to help win that Central Division of the EHL, or
some tough decisions coming up? Yep. But a big day 1 week from today, of course, for all those standalone teams. So,
great deadline episode.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens in the next 7 days, and we'll talk to you guys then.
See you later, boys.
Thanks for listening to The E Show, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Learn more about us at easternhockeyleague.org and follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. Also, be sure to subscribe and get notified when our next podcast episode is released.